I'm going to have to cut and edit it because I had a coughing fit again. Okay, so in a sense, you are going to come to a place whereby doing the work, you're going to get to a point where any indecision you had, you're physically going to make a decision. And that is because you physically cannot continue on the way you physically have been. It is no longer acceptable to not be at peace with yourself. And it's not so much at peace. It's adhering to the aspects of what you think is correct for you. Also connected to relationships, you're going to find they're going to be in highlight in October. And I do feel that the communication and the connection between individuals and relationships is going to be very open, where you're moving blocks and you're actually being honest to certain people in certain situations. For those of you, as I said, who have been considering a person from the past, this can be from the aspect of them being a physical block or you still having unresolved feelings for them. This is very much coming into highlight, and you're going to actually feel a connection to the scenario where you physically have to communicate it. Okay. Now, connected to relationships, I see number 9. This may be relevant for some of you. So this could be something occurred in September or directly connected to the number 9 in October. This might be a Libran directly connected in with you guys, or a Virgo, because it's either side of the month I'm feeling. Okay. Visually, you need to view your life, although you have come through some stormy waters. I am feeling you visually need to look at situations where you're practicing your story from a healthy perspective. Okay. I'm just reading the card to get a bit more. Okay, for some of you, directly connected to the media of anything you might be doing, you're really weighing up the pros and cons connected to, is this to your benefit or detriment? That's what I'm hearing. Because they've got something to do with media. I'll let you, you can pause that if you can visually see. Now, okay, it's asking you to look at your current situation, and this could be visually you saying something on TV which comes as a trigger point. Don't let some paradigm of a reality of what you're visually seeing impact your world. Also, the way you visually see your life to be and what you feel is relevant is what you need to live and how you need to write that story. So what you're seeing does not have to directly impact how you live your life and what you're wanting to do. Okay. Also, you feeling regretful connected to something is not going to solve a situation. Perhaps the throat chakra connected to the way you need to communicate to people is relevant and important. If you talk from a heart standpoint of view, the way things go, for some people I can see that even though you feel regretful connected to a previous situation, and or if somebody else feels regretful connected to a way in which they've treated you, it's not going to change anything. You can change the future, you can't remove the past or change the past. So the way you need to look at things is also be sympathetic towards yourself connected to anything you are changing at the moment in your life. Okay, you need to in some shape or form let go of control. And although I am feeling at the moment you haven't had control to a degree, this is really frustrating you. And I do feel for the last 3 months, a lot of people have come to a place where they're feeling that having a plan and knowing where things are going is an aspect of control. Because a lot of that has really been shaken up and we haven't had that aspect, what people are finding is they're having to accept that paradigm of no control. And there is power in that scenario, because if you can learn to go with the flow, you still can think on your feet. You're adequately equipped to deal with that. Okay, it's asking you to speak less and listen more. So if in some shape or form somebody is communicating their truth to you, and this can be by text message, via the internet, verbally speaking, it can be an opinion, don't take it personal, because ultimately that's their truth, and perhaps in some shape or form you might learn something from them. And it might be that you can actually assess the character connected to this because you're talking less and listening more. So it's actually the universe's way of telling you you're going to be able to receive information if you do it in this manner. And I'm hoping I can edit that coughing bit out, because I don't want to delete the information that came through. Okay, couples, let's see what's going on with you guys. I was really on time, but my sister had a baby, and yeah, very happy for her, but they weren't recording days. One thing that has been coming up, and I'm trying to remember to mention it to everyone for the month of October, is house is very much kind of on the agenda in October. Now, anything to do with the way you live, where you live, who you live with, it can be renovations, moving houses. This is very much in highlight this month. If you're seeing someone, whether you're living with them or they live with you, this aspect is very much coming up this month. Getting itchy. We're in hay fever season, so I can't win. Okay. There's some aspect of clashing going on within the relationship at the moment. So it might be a differing of views, and this can be back and forward in the way you're seeing things and what you're wanting to do. Look, it is causing stress, but you're trying to put a brave face on connected to this, and you're trying to deal with the energy in October. I feel for some reason it's only in the first week. It does feel a bit of a crossover from the September energy through to October. So it can be even money related, where the way you're looking at things and what you're wanting to do, as I said, house is directly connected. So for some of you in a coupled situation, if you own your house, it might be arguments connected to what you're going to be doing with your cash, and or how they visually see you connected to money and assets and the way you deal with it, or vice versa. This is a solid relationship. And this may be something that you visually feel, but the aspect of the way you're thinking of things and blocks connected to it can be an issue. Okay, again, this can be move. So it can be that a move is on the cards, and this is causing stress. I do feel for some of you, you are working quite hard, or you're looking at things that are far out of your reach. one of you is looking at it from one standpoint, the other is looking at it from a different angle, but there feels an emotional connection to it with the indecision of what way to go. Okay, either one or the other feels that you're being too harsh or too quick in making an assessment as to what to do with the finances. Your partner does want a happy home, and one sees it from one perspective of what they want out of life, and yes, they do know they can have it, but the other one is being responsible and patient. So it does feel a clashing of views connected to what to do with the cash and how you're going to do things. I do feel one or the other is going outside the relationship verbally to discuss their feelings connected to some of these topics that are coming up in October for you. Be careful with the person you're actually talking to. I do feel them to be quite jealous connected to your relationship, and I do feel this may impact. Now, the money could be from inheritance. It could be from anything, but there could be, because one energy feels lower than the other for some reason. It doesn't have to be from that. It can be directly from money. Okay, healing of family issues within the relationship is happening or required. This is not connected to children. This is more connected to, it can be to do with childhood. Yeah. It might be you feel it's connected to childhood, but now that you're an adult, you need to look at it from a different perspective. And it's not about you moving away from a situation. It's about you actually directly dealing with it. Okay. The one that is looking at, I just want it all, they're not looking at the bigger picture of it. And you could physically be feeling, and this is the way I'm feeling it, you're physically feeling the other person is not seeing it from a correct standpoint. Now, it doesn't feel like you're the one who is super concerned about the cash component. It feels it's a different person's energy, or it might be vice versa, but at the moment, that's the way I'm feeling it. So because of this situation, you're going to not do anything until clarity comes connected to it. Both of you are going to physically feel you are understanding something directly connected to the both of you. So even though there's trigger points coming up within the relationship, I feel it's initially coming up in a sense of the first week of October. I do feel that by having these things happen, the way you... Also directly link back to the main part of the reading for the general, because that will be very relevant to the both of you as well, you as a couple and you as your own person. But I do feel because you're healing, the way you're doing things is more internal than external, but I do feel a decision being made connected to cash. So this directly could be workers impacting your relationship in the month of October, but I do feel once that decision has been made, the actual energy connected to the relationship will balance out. I do feel communication is very important connected to this for it to flow through. Now, singles. Okay. Although you're single, I am feeling as though people around you who you're mixing with, you're going with the flow and you're going with the motions, but some of the way you're doing things is actually frustrating you. I do feel criticism connected to external people in the way they are commenting and making smirks and having opinions about the way you should be doing things. And you're sick of it. You don't want to hear that. You know how you do things and you know who you are. You have never expected yourself to be perfect, but other people have had an opinion about you and it's starting to tick you off because they have not walked your road, and that's what offends you the most. But don't buy into too much of the energy of what people think, because it does not that does not create your reality. You're creating that reality. So if you're tapping into that energy and receiving it and owning it, then that's what you're going to get. You're going to have and form the opinion of another towards yourself. Okay, you do feel in the first week that you are quite tired, and this making you feel run down. You might have a bit of recovery that is needed in the first week. Okay, you might lose your cool connected to this. Again, your health is directly being impacted by everything that is going on the external, but you need to ground yourself. So it might be that you physically need to sage your house, or have a cleanse bath connected to bath salts, or anything you feel you directly need. It can be your chakra is a bit out of sync, but I do feel, energetically speaking, you may need to rest more. Okay, I do feel that you may have an offer coming your way, and it is feeling quite steady and quite whole. For some of you, this might be an offer connected to employment and a way of doing something different, and you're really thinking, I'm being too kind here, can I really take any more on? So it might be an offer connected to something someone wants you to do, and you're thinking, really, I do have enough on my plate. Don't be too generous. Be very cautious about what you're actually doing. Now, I can see a flirtatious person around you. This may be a water sign. It can be a Cancerian. You're considering it, but it's play at this point. But it has intrigued you to a point where you're looking at it differently. People are saying that you're all about the dollar, and at the moment you might be. This has come up twice. It's come up for singles and couples. It might be that physically, by you focusing on work, because you're quite work orientated, that it helps you get your mind off what you're really not wanting to confront, which is fair enough, but at some point that's going to come up in a trigger for you to directly address. So it's not going to go away, even if you do use work to kind of cover that. The energy around you, you're feeling, is quite cruel. So it can be your workload. It can be the way people are directly treating you and disrespecting you. That is getting you quite cross. I do feel that although you're trying to avoid the aspect of conflict, there is a lot of conflict around you at the moment, even if it might be once a week or direct comments or vibrations you're receiving. I do feel an element of that. You are looking at the past, excuse me, and you're looking at it nostalgically. You're scared to invest in another thing because you're scared it'll be taken from you. So romantically speaking, you have been quite bruised. You're also feeling that if you were to, pardon me, you got a secret crush. Okay. You weren't prepared to meet this person. Your instincts tell you that this person is different. And again, it feels like a water energy. And this could be rising sign or sun or moon. Now, this person's quite free-spirited. But they're also very independent. Okay? They've triggered you to a point where you had buried the hatchet in a sense that you were directly dealing with someone, a block connected to a previous situation you had in a relationship, and you had got to a very comfortable standpoint where you were happy to be single and focus on work. Now what's happening is this person has reopened a heart chakra, and I don't feel this person directly feels a complete romantic connection to you, although it's not to say that that's not possible, but it feels new regardless. But it's a benefit to you because you're opening up. There is attraction connected to this person, and it might be during the holiday you actually meet them. and it's going to help you to be optimistic about the future. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, that it actually ends up being with this person. It feels that something has helped you heal and look at things from a different standpoint. There is attraction there, but it's helped you realize that you're ready for this now. Okay. It is safe for you to love now because your heart chakra is healed. The person is not your soulmate, and you do have a lot in common. But at the moment, it's sort of black and white. It's more you're enjoying the company and you're enjoying who this person is. It's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen. So you may express how you feel to this person, but not yet, because at the moment it's early days. So that's what I got for you guys. I'm sorry about last month, and I hope this resonated. I'll talk to you soon.